Now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams. And today is new release Saturday. We're going to be taking a look at the Hulu original movie Grimcutty, starring Sarah Wolfkind, Shannon Sossaman, Usman Ali, Kalan Faris, Tate Moore, and Joel Ezra Hebner. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. And as I said in the introduction, today we're going to be taking a look at Grimcutty for new release Saturday. Now, some of you may be wondering, Renegade, we didn't see this image for this movie during the trailers. Isn't it supposed to be something else? And you're absolutely right. Today I was supposed to bring to you my review of Deinfluencer. However, Deinfluencer was supposed to come out on October 1st. It hasn't been released to theaters. I can't find it on any streaming services or video on demand. So a judgment call had to be made. This film, Grimcutty, dropped on Hulu, new release. Perfect fit. New release Saturday, still keep with the horror, the spooky. Let's get into it here, shall we? Now, our movie opens one evening with a mother and a son. The son is roaming the house while his mother does some research on the web, looking for things that could be troubling her son, Brandon. Now, there's something off about Brandon, as he has bandages all over his wrists and his hands. Brandon goes into the kitchen and grabs a knife when suddenly Brandon encounters his mother. Brandon's mom tries to get him to hand over the knife when out of nowhere he lunges at her, stabbing her. We then meet Asha and her family, father Amir, mother Lee, and brother Kamran. Asha and her family are on their way to a phone-free night, a performance of Kamran's jazz band. Now, while at the performance, we learn about some random disturbances that have taken place in the neighborhood based off of an internet challenge. Back at the Chowdhury house, after the performance, Amir and Lee are sent links to information about the Grimcutty challenge by fellow parents David and Sarah. After a family meeting discussing the challenge, the parents receive a text letting them know that one of Asha's friends was just caught cutting herself and that it might be connected to the Grimcutty challenge. Later that night, as Asha is preparing some toast, she sees Grimcutty in her house. The police are called, but they are able to convince her parents that she's just making it up, causing Amir to confiscate Asha's laptop and phone. The next morning, Amir and Lee attempt to institute a detox box where all electronics are to be surrendered for the course of 1 week. Now, Kamran surrenders his stuff easily, but Asha rebukes the detox box and fights it. A struggle ensues between Amir and Asha over her phone, as once again, Asha sees Grimcutty, causing her to scream and run to her room. Later that night, Asha confronts Kamran, asking for his backup laptop, and she leaves a post on a message board just before her dad can cut off the internet. She then receives a phone call from Cassidy Johnston, who makes plans with Asha to meet at school the next day. Asha sees Grimcutty once again, and this time he chases her through her house, trapping her in the bathroom and cutting her. But neither her mother or father believe the story. At school the next day, an assembly is held to discuss the Grimcutty challenge. Asha and Cassidy meet up, and Cassidy reveals that she has now lost her phone to a detox box. Cassidy takes Asha to see her friend Oliver, who is throwing a party due to the fact that school has now become optional because of the Grimcutty challenge. While at the party, a live stream is done in which the attendees pretend to cut themselves. Asha uses Oliver's computer to search the terms detox box, and one result leads them to a mommy blog by Melinda Janes, where she mentions her detox box method and how to reclaim your focus game and cut your screen time in the meantime. All statements and quotes that have been echoed recently by both Asha and Cassidy's parents. When a parent randomly texts Lee with the Grimcutty challenge video from Oliver's party, they see Asha in the background of the video and proceed to their house to try to claim her. Asha calls Kamran to have him try and track down Melinda Janes, while Grimcutty shows up at Oliver's party. But Asha is the only one who can see him. Grimcutty first attacks Asha in Oliver's kitchen, cutting her, but Asha is able to grab a knife and stab Grimcutty back. Grimcutty attacks Asha again a second time, this time in the hallway, cutting her as her parents look on, but they don't see anyone but Asha. Amir discovers that someone in their house is using their Wi-Fi, and they race back home. Back at the house, Grimcutty attacks Kamran, causing Amir to blame Asha for the entire thing. While at the hospital, Asha learns the address of Melinda Janes, takes her mom's car keys, and heads to confront her. She discovers that Cassidy is also in the hospital, as she has been attacked by Grimcutty, cut in the legs, and is unable to walk. Asha confronts Melinda, who acts like she has no idea what Asha is talking about. So Asha begins to snoop around Melinda's house and discovers Brandon locked in a padded closet. Melinda discovers Asha and then holds her at gunpoint as Lee shows up at Melinda's house. Asha reveals that Melinda is Brandon's mom and tries to tell her mother what Melinda is doing, but Lee slaps Asha and puts her in the car. Now, on a whim, Lee decides to go back to Melinda's house as Asha has never been a liar, only to discover that Melinda is indeed keeping secrets. While inside, Brandon screams as Grimcutty reveals himself to him, causing Lee to rush up the stairs where she sees Brandon floating in the air. Melinda is about to shoot Lee and Asha, who has rushed back due to the screams, when Brandon emerges and stabs his mom in the legs. Lee and Asha take Melinda to the hospital, and at the hospital, Amir looks at Kamran's laptop history and seemingly becomes possessed. Kamran then sees Grimcutty once again, and we discover that the more that the parents freak out, the stronger Grimcutty gets. Asha once again gets attacked by Grimcutty and accidentally stabs her dad in the process. Amir then follows Asha outside, where he witnesses her being elevated in the air and choked, but he can't see who's doing it. Amir decides to inject himself with a needle, and at that moment, Grimcutty disappears. We then see Asha recording a vlog, answering some questions, and reminding us to just breathe as our movie comes to its end. I thought this was an interesting concept for a movie because if you look at Grimcutty and his face, his mask and his face is very much based on the Momo meme. And I'll put a side by side up here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But the concept and the premise I thought was interesting. But there's very little else about it that really captivated me. As a matter of fact, the story bored me, probably because there was no real killings. People were cutting themselves, but nobody ever died. It was more of this entity that caused you to inflict harm onto yourself or others, as opposed to the serial killer like Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger, etc. I did enjoy the aspect where the fear of the parents gave Grimcutty his power, but that's also very similar to what happened with Fred Krueger. Because the minute that Nancy turns her back on Freddy, he loses all power and disappears. The minute that Amir stabs himself with that needle, injects himself, Grimcutty disappears. Freddy's the only other person I can really think of that had that type of aspect to him. So I did enjoy that little bit of it, but overall, I'm glad that this was a free to streaming released movie and not something I had to pay for in theaters, because I would have probably really been disappointed if I had had to pay money to go see this in theaters. When it comes to my rating of Grimcutty, I'm going to give it 1.5 out of 5 stars. There was so much potential to be had here, and I think it fell incredibly short. I'm curious to know what you guys thought of it, though, for those of you that have seen it. Let me know. If you're watching the premiere, leave your thoughts and comments over here. If you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. Let's have that engagement, that conversation, that discussion, that debate in the comments below regarding Grimcutty. And make sure you guys tune in later today, right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, as well as on the Jeff Meacham Network and across the Jeff Meacham Network multiverse of media, as we present another episode of Open Mic Night. Myself, Noah Foster, James Hebert, the regulars will be there. We might have a drop in from Jeff Meacham, not sure yet. Never know who else may swing by as we discuss the latest topics in professional wrestling. Damn it! But I digress. And then tomorrow, back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, it'll be time to once again step into the war zone. That's right, it'll be time for another episode of the Weekly Acquisition Report, where I show off some of the newest additions to my ever-growing movie library. And then immediately following that, at the top of the following half hour, it'll be time for Hocus Pocus. Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, Kathy Najimy, Thora Birch, Doug Jones, and more in Disney's bewitching Halloween classic. You're not going to miss out on any of that content, both right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, as well as on the Jeff Meacham Network and across the Jeff Meacham Network multiverse of media. Open Mic Night, Warzone, Hocus Pocus, and more coming over the rest of the course of this month. Don't want to miss out on that. So make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that notification bell is turned on. That way you don't miss a thing when a video drops right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, or when we go live, as is the case with Statboy Sports Bar, Open Mic Night, and the pay-per-view PLE coverage. Make sure you share this video with your family, friends, loved ones, co-workers, movie fanatics, cinephiles, fans of horror movies. Anybody you can think of that would enjoy my review of Grimcutty, share this video with them. It's the only way we're going to boost up my visibility in YouTube's algorithms so I can eventually get monetized, make some money by the end of the year. Thank you once again to everyone who tuned in and joined me here today. It means more to me than you'll ever know. And I will see you guys next time.